it's funny. I mean, I definitely need to know how the actuary comes upon the T-Row actuary upon this car.
So part of the deal when Stacy and I decided to move from Fed Hill, where we were originally, and I didn't have a car. I walked to the office. She got to get the house she wanted, and I got to get the car that I wanted.
Do you have to park this like Clark Griswold style, where you have to park like the farthest away in the parking lot, where it's like, because there's like no spots big enough for this one?
Occasionally I have to deal with that, yes.
Justin, thank you so much for picking us up and for driving us here to Gardens and Grounds. I'm super thrilled to get coffee with you guys.
Yeah,
Thanks so much
excited.
for coming out with
Thank
me.
you.
And this is a hell of a car to be in for Mensches, so thank you.
Jessica is a partner at Gordon Feinblatt LLP and focuses her practice on estate planning and wealth preservation. Jessica has served as a board member of YAD since 2019. Throughout her time serving, she has been a co-chair of the Couples Committee and the Ben-Gurion Society. Jessica also serves as an ambassador for the Associated's Baltimore-Odessa Partnership and as a member of the Israel and Global Managing Council. Justin works as a portfolio manager and head of analysis at T. Rowe Price. He sits on the boards of Bethel Synagogue, where he's also served as the 7th grade Sunday school teacher, and the Max Jewish Connection Network, following a stint as a community connector. He can usually be found coaching on local tracks, basketball courts, or soccer fields in Towson.
Do you guys know what you're gonna have? Yes. Everything looks awesome. Hey, nice to meet you. I'm Yankee.
Nice to meet you. I'm Joe. I'm
It's
the
a
general
pleasure.
manager.
Thank you so much. Joe, you have a slight accent. Is that Australian?
No, it is not.
Okay.
I'm from Manchester, England.
Manchester, England. That's amazing. Glory, glory, Man United. Glory, glory, Man United. Glory, glory, Man United. Glory, Man United.
I'm Yankee Shore, and this is Mensches in Cars Getting Coffee.
Guys, thank you so much for joining me here at Gardens and Grounds.
Of course, thank you for having us.
Are you guys coffee people?
Oh my gosh, yes, of course.
Daily, multiple times a day, once a day?
At least, I mean, if I'm doing once a day, it's a very large cup. I mean, I firmly have acknowledged at this point that it's an addiction.
I didn't start drinking coffee until my second kid was born, so I was a very late adopter to the coffee phase, and it's mainly, my wife Stacy is a big coffee drinker, so when she's in town, I'll drink coffee with her. When she's not, I go without. So I enjoy it. I like coffee. If it's around, I'll certainly have it, but no, I'm not quite addicted to it yet, so I'd say most days.
So, Justin, you mentioned, I think a while back, that you have British citizenship. Does that mean you drink that cloudy garbage tea with milk in it?
No, I'm not a tea drinker at all.
And you are coaching as well. Are you the inspiration for Ted Lasso?
So I've never actually seen that show either. Everyone tells
This interview's over. Sorry guys, we're done. We're done. We're done.
So warm-hearted.
No Ted Lasso, no interview. You know, you guys are winning the Fred Walpert Award, which is awesome. What does winning that award mean to you guys?
Certainly didn't get involved with the Associated to get any kind of award. For me, I think it's incredibly humbling. I got involved with the Associated just because, I mean, I grew up in the area, so I am well familiar with all the, we are, and I've seen it. My husband was involved first. And, in the beginning, it was really a matter of supporting the cause and really just feeling really connected to the mission of the Associated. And then the more that I got involved, the more, the more it resonated with me how much the Associated really does locally and globally. And I just felt like even the smallest things that I could do were, that was the least that I could do. And hopefully an example to up-and-coming young people getting involved with the Associated about just how, even the smallest thing makes the biggest difference, and continuing to do that can really be so impactful.
That's awesome. Justin, how about you?
For me, it actually meant almost the exact opposite. Not being from around here, my first time in Baltimore was 2013, and I had never visited here. I knew nothing about it. I had no idea if there was such a vibrant Jewish community here. I grew up in Phoenix, Arizona, where my brothers and I were the only Jews in our high school. But winning the award meant that over the 12 years that we've lived here, we've really integrated into the community, and I use it as much of a symbol of that and kind of a milestone to know that my family's made a home here. We're part of the community. We're integrated in the community, and it's such a quick transition over 12 years from where we came.
Speaking about from where you came, interestingly enough, you both have some immigrant roots. Talk to me about that a little bit.
So my dad's a British citizen. My parents met in Israel on a kibbutz, picking oranges in the 1980s.
Nice.
And he moved to Phoenix. And so most of our travel has been to London and Europe to visit my family and my immigrant roots. So one of the things that I really want to do more for my kids and kind of as I think more about future Jewish involvement is just get a closer tie to Israel.
Jessica, how about you?
Yeah, so my parents came over as teenagers in the late 70s from the Soviet Union, so specifically from Ukraine. My dad's side is from Kiev, my mother's side's from Odessa, hence the nod to the Baltimore-Odessa partnership. And so they came over in the late 70s with their parents. They met in Baltimore and developed this whole life here. And then when the wall fell and the Soviet Union collapsed, it was slowly trickling in more family. So I do still have a little bit of family that are still left there, more extended family in both cities. And it's certainly been challenging in the current climate. We've done pretty much everything to the extent that we can from here to keep them safe, getting them out, getting them back in. With the Baltimore-Odessa partnership especially, when the opportunity arose to join the partnership, I just jumped at it. I've always wanted to be more connected in the same way that my mother is and kind of have that bond and the connection where she came from. And so being involved with the partnership has really given me a tremendous avenue to do that and stay connected to the community there.
It's interesting you mentioned that when your family came to this country, the only problem is that to Justin, we're not in a country, we're just in a colony.
Correct.
So that's valid.
Correct.
Jessica, you're so involved in kind of helping people plan for the future.
Yes.
And Justin, you're so involved in predicting the future. We're in this tumultuous time.
Yes.
And there's a lot going on. Tell me how you see our Jewish lives here in Baltimore playing out over the next 3, 6, 12, 24 months.
Well, I'll pivot to the psychic. Who may have more.
So when people find out I'm an actuary, the first thing I usually get asked is, "Oh, you can tell me when I'm going to die." No, I can't. I can give you.
But you can tell me who to pick in Caps games. And when is OV going to when is he really going to beat the record?
Sometime in April. In terms of the Jewish Baltimore community, I do think. So I'm involved in the network.
Jewish Connections Network.
What I would like to, and I hope to see, and I do believe that the network is doing some great work to make this so, is just a more welcoming experience for Jews of all backgrounds. And I think that if you look at the study, the numbers of Jews that are actively engaged in the community as a portion of the total people that identify as Jewish to some regard is still relatively low, and I think we can make meaningful improvements in that.
Well, I'll take that as the prediction.
How can I beat that? The only thing I will say is just, if history is any indication of future, I will say, for what it's worth, growing up in the area, I do think that the amount of resources and just available outlets for not just practicing your faith, but just getting involved from a community aspect has just expanded exponentially. The Associated is a completely different animal today than it was when I was a child, and I think that, credit is due where it's due. I think there is an opportunity here to give credence to the fact that there's been tremendous expansion of Associated efforts. And it has really expanded the opportunities within the Jewish community for people to get more involved. Now, can we continue to work on getting more people involved and expanding our reach? Absolutely. I think it's worth still acknowledging how far we've come, and I think that it gives me hope that we're only getting further.
So, real quick, guys, not going into it, but just fire off.
All right.
Justin, give me your top 3 Mensches.
I mean, my parents would have to be 1 and 2 because they are the foundation.
you which one's 1 and which one's 2.
My dad would ask, and he would be very disappointed with the answer.
Say your wife.
Your wife.
Also a given. I don't know. Like, give me a moment, Jessica. You got it.
Yeah, Jessica. Top 3 Mensches.
You're like Ben Gurion, your top leaders. I would say, personally for me, I would say my husband, first and foremost. Never said no to anyone ever. My dad is the epitome of why, I get involved. My dad imposed upon me how important it was that, people helped him get to where he is and that we need to pay that forward. And third, I would say my great-grandfather, who's actually no longer with us, but he also was the pillar in my community who really impressed upon us how important it is to just always give back regardless of, even when you have nothing to give, just be a present person.
Awesome. Guys, thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me today. And look, cheers to a great day. Mishenichnas Adar Marbim B'Simcha. When Adar comes in, we increase for joy. So thank you guys for increasing my joy today. And for the win, we couldn't think of more appropriate awardees for the Fred Wolpert Award. Mazel tov, guys.
Thank you.
I'm Yankee Shore, and this is Mensches in Cars Getting Coffee.